Hi guys, welcome to another episode of It's Critical. I'm your host Kritika Singh, and in today's episode, we have with us Susmita, who's a vegan chef, podcaster, and a multi passionate entrepreneur. She runs Carrots, India's first vegan restaurant, bakery, and culinary academy. As an ethical vegan and foodie, Susmita believes that empowering people to make their own plant based food is one of the most effective ways to take the movement forward. Let's hear more from Susmita herself. Happy listening! So thank you so much, Susmita, for joining us today and for giving us your time. And I hope you're safe and your family is safe during this tough time. Before we go ahead, I would really love for our audience to know a little about you. So, can you please introduce them with your profession, your work, and who you are?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me here, Kritika. I like the name of your podcast. It's critical. I love
Thank you.
puns and the topics that you have covered so far, and that what I heard from you, what you plan to cover, all sound like very critical topics. um,
Thank you.
so my name is Susmita, and I'm from Bangalore. I've been vegan since early 2003, and back
Okay.
then not a lot of people even knew what veganism was. i
Yeah.
I'd grown up in a vegetarian family, and I used to love dairy, particularly milk and curds a lot. uh,
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was never hooked on cheese. So when I heard the term vegan, a friend of mine had turned vegan, and when I heard about it, I thought he was bonkers. I'm like, what? How do you even stop having milk and all? That doesn't even make any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And I used to be one of those horrible, mean vegans. I used to eat cake in front of him and be like, oh, see, you're going to never eat this in your life. And basically, all the myths that stem from a lack of awareness, right? But
Yeah.
then I did finally, after a while, after quite some time, after finding out about veganism, I did turn vegan, and that was because I finally opened myself up to know more about what exactly happens in the dairy industry, and I didn't
Yeah.
want to support that anymore. And uh, after that, my taste buds and all those things just didn't make any sense. They're like, that's not worth
Yeah.
the horror. I'm a spiritual
True.
person. I've been into Reiki, healing, meditation, and all that for many years now. And what happened was that when I realized, when I made the connection, I'm like, okay, if I'm into spirituality and I want to grow on this path, what where will it lead me if I start by putting food that comes from all kinds of suffering and
Yeah.
difficulty into my body? So
True.
then that's what that kind of, also that connection also helped me to make the decision and go vegan. So when I did go vegan, I was like, okay, how do I get curds? That was the first thought. I went
Yeah.
searching for curd, alternatives. And of course, I love chocolate cake. So that was another thing. Those are the two first things that I made in vegan versions,
Sure of. Yeah.
as alternatives. Of course, there was regular food, which
Yeah.
was anyway already vegan. So then, when back then there was only soy milk. I used to make soy milk at home from scratch and make curds
Okay.
out of it. I had no clue about all these other varieties, like peanut curds and cashew milk
Yeah.
and all these other things. Not yet; they hadn't come into the market yet. The idea hadn't sprouted for a few
Yeah.
more years until after I turned vegan. But even then, with just that one soy milk alternative, and then just going online and looking for recipes, there was just one website again back then called veganfood.net, and I used to refer to that for my recipes.
Okay.
And I bought a couple of books, like really old vegan books, and those are still,
Yeah.
I really cherish them because they really changed my life, having used them in my earlier vegan days. So
Yeah.
once I started with those, I realized that there is so much variety when it comes to vegan food. And I started making new things and eating new things, things that I'd never heard of before I'd gone vegan. So, what it
Yeah.
did was expand my world, expand my varieties, and it
Yeah.
sparked this whole passion for cooking and baking and everything. I wasn't doing much baking before that, and I would cook for, just because I needed to eat. But
Yeah.
going vegan changed that entirely. So from there started this whole journey of how my life completely changed. And today, everything that I do, everything, in my life, it's somewhere my veganism is infused in it. So
Got it.
it influences it, and either it was birthed because I turned vegan, like my blog and then my restaurant, so forth, or my
Yeah.
spirituality practice, my podcast, everywhere it's infused right there, the whole veganism. And yeah, that's my journey of being a vegan. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I run Carrots, which is India's first vegan restaurant, and I also run a podcast called The Feel Good Factor. I teach guided meditations, and there are many other things that I do, which, if anybody wants to know more, they can just go to my website, which is veganosaurus.com, and find out more about me there.
Well, thank you so much for walking us through all the details of your life. And it's really interesting to know because there were so many things that I could relate to, especially about turning vegan. Because uh, I was there. We've all been there, that we used to think of whether we can do it or not. But I think it's about time that we start realizing that, vegan alternatives are tasty. Vegan alternatives are amazing because I've been a vegan for 6 years and I've never looked back. And I make cakes. I make all the cakes that you can imagine, and I mean, they are amazing. There's you don't need just cream or cheese or dairy or non-vegan items to prepare good food. And talking about your restaurant, I think Carrots was the first place where I actually met other vegans for the first time in my life. So
Okay.
I think I used to love being at Carrots when I was in Bangalore, even though it was a short
Mhm.
stint, but I used to enjoy going to Carrots. Now, talking about Carrots, how is it like being the first restaurant or first plant-based restaurant in India?
So the restaurant was started by Krishna Shastri, not by me, and I used to be a
Okay.
super enthusiastic customer. Like you can imagine, right? Like as
Yeah.
a vegan, the
Yeah.
first vegan restaurant in the country in my hometown,
Yeah.
I was like, yay! And I would go and talk about carrots to everybody. I would promote them when they started off, and then I would go and teach recipes to the chefs. I'm like, okay, do this, do
Yeah.
that. This is how you can make vegan bread, cake, whatever. I would do some classes and workshops there with them. I would go, I would teach them recipes. I would tell them, do this, don't do this. This is how you can make bread. This is how you can make cake, and a lot of things. So Krishna saw how enthusiastic I was. He saw that I was connected, well connected in the vegan,
Yeah.
circles within Bangalore as well as across India. Back
Yeah.
then, all the vegans knew each other. So,
Each other.
you know, maybe there were so few of us in the country.
Yeah.
And so he asked if I'd like to join the team. And about 10 months after Carrots was started, I joined the team. Initially,
Yeah.
I just joined there to work. I had said I'd committed a year. I said, see, I want to go in my own direction, start my own place, do something, do
Yeah.
consultation. I had already started that even before Carrots. I was going to places and I was doing vegan events. Like we were doing pop ups as well as demonstrations, things like that. I had already done that at a few places. And then I joined Carrots and I said, okay, 1 year. But
Yeah.
within 2 3 months, within a handful of months of joining, I knew this was home. This really, really felt it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is a perfect fit. Now, the whole reason I hadn't started my own place is because I didn't want to go through the bureaucracy, setting up the
Yeah.
administration, blah, blah, blah. And that I was
Yeah.
lazy about that. And here it was, this whole place already all set up and just given to me on the platter. And,
Served on a yeah.
yeah, it's like, I got to do only what I wanted to do in those initial, at least for a year or so. I only
Yeah.
was involved in the creative side of things,
Yeah.
coming up with recipes, menus, social media, events, and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was, being the first vegan restaurant in the whole country, we were
Yeah.
way ahead of the curve. 7 years ago, nobody knew what
Yeah.
vegan was. There weren't many vegans, and
Yeah.
even among non-vegans, it was unheard of. Or those who knew about it
Yeah.
had a lot of myths about it, right?
That I didn't know the term vegan itself. Like I was vegan even before I knew the term
Oh,
vegan in itself. And it's only after, some search and discovery of what am I called, what am I doing, I'm definitely not a vegetarian, that I got to know what veganism in itself was. So I can understand how difficult or rare it would have been for people to even know what vegan is.
this what you said now, that gives me a lot of hope for veganism in India, because there are multiple people from whom
Yeah.
I've heard this. They
Yeah.
make the connection, they decide like, oh, I shouldn't be having dairy anymore and eggs and all that, and I'll
Yeah.
not support that anymore. And later they realize it's called vegan. And Krishna became vegan in the year 2000, and his family
Okay.
really thought he was nuts. Like they literally thought he had some issues. And then, 2 years later, in 2002, there was a first article, I think it was in Indian Express, about vegans.
Okay.
And then, they saw and they're like, hey, there are more people like you. So yeah, it's great to hear this. But yeah, it was very, very lonely, because there's nobody
Yeah.
else who understands your position. There are other vegans, but it's very different being a vegan and running a
A
vegan
vegan
business,
restaurant too.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
food industry itself is quite difficult to begin with. It's
Yeah.
it's a tough place. So then, being a vegan restaurant in the middle of that, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
It was an uphill climb for us. And we have done a lot to create awareness about veganism over
Yeah.
the years,
Yeah.
among the crowd, and normalize it as much as possible, and make people
True.
realize how wonderful it is, and the food can be as great as, or in fact better than, the non-vegan
Yeah.
alternatives. So that took a lot of work. So it felt great to be, yes, the first. Now, after all that journey and the difficulty, 7 years
Yeah.
later, it feels great to say, in this environment, like, we were the first vegan restaurant. But back then, like, oh, first, that's a little brave of us.
Yeah, and it's always tough, right? Because we don't know. Sure, India is a majority, like the majority of the population here, as per the data, is vegetarian. But it's still difficult for even to communicate this thing to vegetarians that you can still try vegan food, because whether they are non-vegetarians or vegetarians, the one question everybody asks me is, "Tum khati kya ho? What do you eat?" And I'm like, seriously, like.
Yeah, it
Um,
takes quite a bit of effort to make people realize that their daily foods, especially in India, and especially if you come to South India, most of our vegetarian food is vegan by default. There's
yeah,
just an
yeah,
addition later of, maybe in some cases, butter, ghee, or
yeah,
something, but otherwise,
yeah.
yeah.
I think the idea, like you said, is to normalize conversations around this, because the problem lies in not being aware of it.
Yeah.
And this podcast, I think, is to make sure that we talk about all the alternatives to non-vegan items that's available in India or even in the world in general, and how people like you are doing great work, in helping others to transition. So if they are not sure, maybe they can just pop into your restaurant and then try some vegan items and see if that's something they would want to choose.
Yeah.
So even taking one step at a time is something that is essential and critical at this moment. And
Absolutely. And to tell you the truth, the my restaurant, the crowd, the guests who come in, of course not right now during the COVID
yeah,
crisis, but in the normal run of events, the people who come in, most of the crowd is non-vegan. So there's only like maybe 25-30% of vegans, and the rest are non-vegans, mostly vegetarians, but there are non-vegetarians also. And some people don't know it's a vegan place. They come because they see the
yeah,
vegetarian food, they see the
yeah,
variety. Some people know it is.
yeah,
And like you said, few people, after eating at the restaurant, they made that decision to go vegan. And
yeah,
that's like,
yeah,
oh, this is worth it, all the effort, because this
yeah.
is why we're doing this.
Yeah, because there's so much of information,
Yeah.
right? Like what you also take care at the restaurant of, what I remember is, of having information set up for everyone, whoever needs it. there are people there at the restaurant to help them or guide them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needed, because we need people who support each other rather than just promoting a certain idea.
Oh,
And veganism is not just an idea, it's a lifestyle, and more than a lifestyle, it's your dedication towards yourself, the animals, and the climate. So
absolutely,
wherever
absolutely.
we start, the idea is to just start it.
Yes, yes. And
And
I tell people, when somebody wants to go vegan, I tell them that all you need to do is create awareness for yourself, build a support system, talk to other vegans. That's it. Because
yeah,
all of us are happy to share, happy to
yeah,
help people grow. And a very big part, so with the restaurant also, a very big part of what we do is teaching. So we teach
yeah,
vegan cooking and baking, because I've always believed that the way forward for the world to go vegan is if everyone can make their own alternatives and
yeah, yeah,
vegan food at home, and you don't need these
yeah,
alternatives. First of all, right, it's only for
yeah,
taste. You are nutritionally
yeah,
you are good with just regular
yeah.
plant-based food.
Plant-based
Yeah.
food. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as my next question, I would like to know what are the kind of food you serve at Carrots.
We have a huge menu. It's really fat, like 40 pages. So we have
That's a
everything.
lot. Yeah.
You've seen it, you've been there.
Yeah.
And that is just the dine-in menu. We also have a huge specialty product section. So here's the thing. We started off with a tiny menu and a buffet system, but over the years we built on the menu, and then got rid of the buffet initially, because it made sense only in the beginning so that people get to
Yeah.
taste a variety, but it's
Yeah.
actually a wasteful thing, so we let that
Yeah.
go. Now the menu has everything, from your salads, smoothies, some chaats, some wraps, burgers, pizzas, pastas. It has a lot of fusion food, like varieties of things that we've just made up ourselves,
Yeah.
lots of dishes of those.
Yeah.
It has, of course, Indian food, and it has desserts, like yummy yummy vegan desserts. And we make pretty much everything in house, our dips, sauces, ice
Yeah.
creams, everything. So what happens is, because we're making everything in house, the milks and curds and all that, we
Yeah.
decided that we could also offer these as products to people, so people
Yeah.
can actually
Yeah.
order our breads and milks and all these
Yeah.
things. So yeah, we have every kind of food, so that no matter who walks in, there'll be something on the menu that they would like. Why we decided that whole good karma meal concept, where we would actually cook meals and place them in the fridge, so
Okay.
anybody who's hungry can take them and go. So
Mm.
there were very few leftover cakes and things there,
Okay.
but mainly it was actually fresh food. And then a lot of people contributed to it, so we would place meals on their behalf also, and it was going very well. But then yeah, just before the
The
COVID,
COVID.
it stopped. There was some construction work, so the road was being dug up, and we stopped
Okay.
then. And then yeah, we
Okay.
never restarted because of COVID. But fortunately, right now we are doing another project in association with India Animal Save, India Health Save and India Animal Save. So India Health Save is
Yeah.
they are the ones
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
are. So they are getting food from us. They are placing orders for large quantities of pulao or some kind of a
Okay.
one pot rice dish, and they are taking it and distributing it in underprivileged people in slums and families like that, who are finding
Wow.
it difficult to find food at this time. So we're like,
Yeah.
oh good, we because we were missing not doing the good karma meal, so
Yeah.
this felt good to be able to do right now.
In fact, apart from the good deeds that you're doing, it also, I remember that once we were just crossing from the restaurant and one of my friends saw it, and
Mhm.
she's a non-vegan, but she's like, hey, can we go try Carrots? You always used to tell me, but I think they're doing good work. And I think I got her to Carrots, and we had a good conversation with you also around that.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people also see that, and because people are also becoming so aware and conscious, and they want to also be part of something like this, so
Mm.
that also brings crowd. So I think it's also a good way of at least bringing non-vegan customers on board. So
Absolutely. Everything, I mean, it ties in together. So, what
yeah.
we run now, see, the future is this. There is no, it's not like you don't have to do only an NGO or only a for-profit
Yeah.
business. You can
Yeah.
run social enterprises like
Both.
these, which
Yeah.
which conscious businesses rather,
Yeah.
which support multiple things while also running a business like
Yeah.
in a traditional sense.
Yeah.
So that's definitely possible. And apart from this, another thing that also gets people interested to visit is we have a lot of events. So
Yeah.
if there are like-minded people, if somebody wants to come do a yoga class or a book reading
Yeah.
or meditation or talk about organic veggies, if there are conscious businesses, we provide them a platform to promote their business at our restaurant. So that kind of intersectionality, like
Yeah.
helping
Yeah.
other like-minded, even if they're not say a completely vegan place,
Yeah.
but their vegan products and that part of
Yeah.
things can be promoted in our platform. That helps too.
So, Susmita, before we go ahead, there's a small rapid fire round, and I'll probably just put one question to you. And I would want a one word answer or a maximum of a one phrase answer.
Hmm.
So, whenever you're ready, I'll start with it.
Hmm. Let's go ahead.
Um, okay. So, the first one is dog,
Cat.
money,
Abundance.
want,
Need.
need,
Ice cream.
sustainability,
Veganism.
desire,
Desire. Now, manifestation.
food,
Vegan food.
veganism,
Ethical way of life.
frog.
I don't know why. Rodent.
That was a nice connect.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Susmita. I think going ahead, I would like to know. I think going ahead, the next question for you would be: is it easy to find plant-based alternatives now? And if yes, how easy it is to use these alternatives in preparing food?
So it is, though it may not appear that way if you compare, say, to the West, but today there are way more plant-based alternatives available than there
Yeah,
were even maybe 5 years ago. So
yeah,
things are changing. There are a lot of little vegan businesses cropping up everywhere. So not just the big companies introducing plant-based alternatives, but also a lot of um, homegrown vegan businesses all
yeah,
over in multiple cities. So alternatives are available, and they're quite easy to use and very tasty. But then again, as you were saying, it's easy to be vegan in India because of, one of the reasons is because of the variety of, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, all the things that are available to us,
yeah,
right? So it's extremely easy for people to even just make their own plant-based alternatives at home,
yeah.
and you can make so many varieties, and it gives you a lot of options. Because if you make one kind of milk, you can see, okay, this goes well with this dish, but then I
Yeah.
can make another kind of milk with another dish.
Absolutely. Yeah. The
So
flavors are so different and so in itself it's so unique.
very, very unique, very, very
Yeah.
unique, and it's beautiful because there's so much potential for creativity in all
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, having talked about different kinds of alternatives,
Mhm.
what, according to you, does the future of plant-based food look like?
It looks very promising, and we can see that by looking at the global trends, where, or even the trends within India,
Yeah.
where the plant based alternative businesses are getting a lot of funding,
Yeah.
especially meat alternatives. Huge funding is
Yeah.
happening there.
Yeah.
So they know, everybody knows that this is the future and this is where it is headed. And I'll tell you an example. When on one of the visits to New York, there's this one vegan, small restaurant. They were actually more like a vegan fast food chain, and it was winter and it was cold and we were shivering, and still I could see that the queue was like nearly wrapped around the block. It
Wow.
was like this long queue of people.
Yeah.
Not all of them are vegan, of course, right? So there were non-vegans going there, lining up to go and eat that vegan
Yeah.
food, and
Yeah.
that is the future of plant-based foods. So what we need is to have enough businesses and restaurants so that the crowd doesn't have to stand in queues and they
Yeah.
can just go eat.
Yeah. Yeah, and until recently in India, we just had Good Dot as one of the meat alternative. But now, I
Mhm.
think recently there was a news about the celebrities Janelia D'Souza and Ritesh Deshmukh coming up with their own plant-based meat brand. I think
Yeah,
we are moving towards it, and people have slowly started recognizing the fact that we need alternatives. So, um,
absolutely,
and I
absolutely.
think there's also clean meat coming into the picture because. There's this company based out of Singapore, if I'm not wrong, Shiok Meats.
Hmm.
They are at this moment looking at investors, and the lady Sandhya is from India, and
Hmm.
she is based out of Singapore, and she is doing a great work with getting cell cultured and lab grown clean meat,
I
and
see.
that's actually that looks like a future, right? Wherein if you actually want plant-based alternative, you have that, but if you need the exact taste of meat, you also have that, but there's no cruelty to any animal in that, since it's just from the lab.
So the cell cultured meat is a bit of a controversy because there is, to start with, to get the cell from
Yeah,
somewhere, there is some minimal amount
of
of
course,
cruelty.
of
But
course.
yes, if you're looking at it in
The
the
larger
large scale,
picture.
in larger
Yeah.
picture, then definitely yes, as you say, that is a part of the future.
Yeah.
But there is another angle to things that I'm seeing is that, again, with especially now with the COVID crisis, while all of us are sitting at home,
Yeah.
people are realizing the importance of eating more healthy, more fresh, more
True.
clean foods, handmade stuff, right,
Yeah.
right off from their own, made in their own kitchen, so
Yeah.
they know what goes into it. So
Yeah.
that again, I think, is going to really really help with increasing the consumption of plant based foods, because
Yeah.
as we, especially in India, we see that even a lot of people who eat meat do not eat meat at home.
On. Yeah.
They go out to eat. So
Yeah.
if they are focusing more on cooking at home and more on, eating food that they prepare, then a lot more plant based food is going to get consumed. That's going to become a big part of the
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah. So I think having talked about this, what's next for you and what's next for carrots?
So next for carrots is, right now, just getting through this whole crisis somehow,
Yeah.
and coming out strong on the other end, because I do believe that all conscious business, all vegan business, everyone's going to do well if they survive through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is right now, that is our only focus. We might again start, so because as I said, classes were a big part of what we
Yeah.
were doing. Now we have to switch to figure out how to do more online classes and things like that, so we're
Yeah.
thinking of working on those lines.
Of course.
So carrots right now, that's all there is, and nothing else right now in our mind. But yeah, once we open out and expand, once the COVID crisis is over, yeah, there's so much that we have
Yeah.
that we want to do. Personally, for me, I'm taking a step back from only being a vegan restaurateur and focusing on many other aspects and many other areas of my life. So I've been doing more talks on spirituality. I've been doing more meditations and that kind of stuff. So
Your
and of
podcast.
course, my podcast,
Yeah.
which is a huge part of what I'm doing now, which
Yeah.
embodies all these things that I
Yeah.
carry.
So yeah, and before we end this episode, I think yours was a very quick episode, and it's great how we wrapped everything and all the questions in such short time. But if there's one message that you would like to give to people who are transitioning to plant-based diet, or
Mhm,
people who are still not explored plant-based diet,
mhm.
what would that one message be?
I would say, it's what you need to do is be very, very mindful of what you eat and where it's coming from. So spend time with your food before you start eating. Just spend a few minutes. thinking about the journey of the food before it
Yeah.
reached you.
Yeah.
And that is going to help you make the right decisions,
Yeah.
and what you should be having, and what kinds of practices you should be supporting.
True.
And that'll help. And then build a support system, even if you are a little bit considering switching to a plant-based life.
Yeah.
Then connect with other vegans, connect with other people on the same journey as you.
Yeah.
So that is going to really help you get through this, because the difficult part is not the food. The food is easy and the food is fantastic and wonderful. You
Yeah.
can figure it out. It's dealing with the people around you, convincing family and friends that this is good and this is the right way for you to be, to deal with that kind of stuff. When you have a support system around you, you'll be
It's
able to do
easy.
it much better.
Yeah. And in fact, there are organizations, like there's this organization called Reducitarian,
Mm-hmm.
which helps people to reduce meat and
Mm-hmm.
transition into plant-based diet. So even if you're someone who's not yet ready or is apprehensive about uh, transitioning, but you want to cut down on your meat eating habits, then something or an organization like Reducitarian can be of a big help, because they do talk about how easy it is to reduce when you start thinking from a climate, animal, or health perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That makes sense. And another way, of course, is also to do this more like a, see, a lot of us humans,
yeah,
we are very afraid to commit.
yeah,
You're like, oh my god, this is life changing, okay, I'm so scared to do it. So
yeah,
instead you can do it more like, okay, I'm going to be a strict vegan for 1 month, not reduction, not anything, but
yeah,
strictly a vegan for 1 month. Try it for just that 30 days.
yeah.
Just by doing that, again, is a great way, because you're going to corner
True,
yourself to
true.
become aware and educate yourself
Yeah,
in all
yeah,
directions. So that also helps to get you
yeah.
there.
That
The system changes, your taste buds change, as
yeah,
well as your brain also changes, right?
yeah.
Like the addiction goes away. So that
True.
is why the strict doing it for a month, I feel,
Helps.
maybe more effective than
Yeah,
trying to slowly reduce it.
yeah.
Because yeah, that works too. I am not judging
To
that,
each
but
its own. Yeah,
to each their own. But I feel this is very effective, because physically, literally, you will change so that
yeah,
you won't need it
yeah,
anymore. When I say physical change, I only mean taste buds and
yeah.
brain. I don't
No,
mean
but of course, vegan food does help you in losing weight
if you
also,
intend to. Yes, if you
but
want to, you can lose weight. Even those who have less weight can gain weight,
can
if you're
gain weight
underweight.
depending on the diet you choose.
Yes.
And for someone like me who keeps hogging a lot, thanks to COVID, I think you, no matter whether you're a vegan or non-vegan, if you eat too much, you will eventually gain weight.
And which is
But
fine, as long as
yeah,
you're healthy, as long as you're
yeah,
full of energy, the
true,
size doesn't even matter,
true,
right?
true. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so,
it's
and it
difficult when all
proves.
your clothes become tight and you're a minimalist and you don't buy too many clothes.
Yeah, but you're
It's
at home during COVID, so like how much, you can wear the same old pair of old t-shirt and whatever, which is loose. This is the beauty of podcasting, right? Because
yeah,
and mine is only a voice only podcast, so you don't even I don't even have to
yeah,
bother to dress up this
yeah.
part of me so well.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was very good talking to you,
You too,
Susmita, and
Kritika.
I'm really hoping that, with this podcast, your message reaches out to as many people as it can, and
Mhm.
I'm thankful that you are a part of this.
Thank you so much, Kritika.
Thank you for listening to us today. Check out the Feel Good Factor podcast and listen to Susmita's podcast episodes. To follow Susmita and connect with her, check out her Instagram handle @VEGANOSAURUS. It's @Veganosaurus. To connect with It's Critical on Instagram, check out @ITSKRITIKALPODCAST. It's It's Critical Podcast. To connect with us on Twitter, check out @ITSKRITIKALPOD. It's Critical Pod. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. The link is in the description. For more details, visit www.itscritical.com. It's www.itscritikal.com. We hope you had a great time listening to this episode, and I'd like to thank my colleagues Joshua, Siddharth Vishnu, and Jonathan Lusto for doing their best in helping us come up with these episodes. Thank you. Happy listening.